Hey, Scott here, Scotty's Animals. Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about how to take better pictures of our guinea pigs. And here's 8 easy tricks that you can try to improve your pictures. You know, we love our guinea pigs, we love talking about guinea pigs, and we love sharing pictures of our guinea pigs, whether it's to social media or just when you're sharing pictures with your friends and coworkers and family. It's just part of having guinea pigs is to share their cuteness and your love for them, and one of the best ways is to do that through pictures. So here are 8 easy ways to improve the quality of your pictures. Now, this applies whether or not you have a fancy camera or whether you're just taking pictures on your phone. And in case you didn't know, I shoot all my videos with my phone. It's just a regular old Samsung. It's like a bunch of years old, nothing special about it. But all of these smartphones have really good cameras, especially if you know how to utilize some of the things that they do best. And also, some of these things are not going to necessarily be about the cameras themselves, but ways to get the best pictures out of your models, and those are your piggies. And number 1, anybody who's ever worked in film or video production or photography or anything like that where you have what we call talent, and that is the actors or the models, what is that? Feed your crew, feed your cast, feed your crew, and that means treats. Feed your guinea pigs. If you want them to stay calm, especially for an extended photo shoot, you gotta feed them. So having treats, giving them treats, that's going to be a great way to get them to stay calm and to be patient. Uh-oh, they heard me say treats. Now, one of the best treats you can give that are small and you're not going to have a big pile of lettuce or something like that in front of your piggies when you're trying to take pictures is pea flakes. Now, these are Chloe's organic pea flakes made by The Natural Cavi, and that's The Natural Cavi. I'll also put a link in the description. Oh, and by the way, there's a coupon code and a discount if you look down here at the description. Daniel, who runs The Natural Cavi, he wanted to give everybody a special treat, and so there's a discount on the pea flakes, so check it out. So you can see treats will get their attention and keep them patient and calm. So what's the second thing to consider when you want to take better pictures of your guinea pigs? Well, that is the background. Sometimes you have this amazing, perfect photo and there's a little poopy either in the corner or right under their foot or whatever, and you're like, can I just Photoshop that out of there? But if you have a clean cage, that's going to go a long way to giving you really nice pictures. Now, it's not just about a clean cage, but consider the entire background. So you can set up a little fleece, you can put them in a cuddle sack or a cuddle cup. I'm going to show some examples of a really nice, clean photo setup. So in some of these pictures, you will see that I've cleaned the cage, and in others of these pictures, you see that I've got them in a tunnel or a cuddle sack or a cuddle cup. Now, anytime you're using fleece or you've got them in your cage, thinking about the colors, either the colors of your piggies or also, look at Gus, he just hopped up. Gus is a climber. Thinking about the background, thinking about the colors that they are sitting in front of and the colors of your piggies, that is going to be really important if you want the photos to stand out and you really want their colors and the colors of your background to really pop. Now, if you don't follow me on Instagram, please check out my Instagram. Of course, it's just Scotty's Animals. I'm sure if you search, you'll be able to find me there. And hopefully, you'll see that some of the pictures that I've posted are amazing. My pigs look really cute. They pop off the background. So you really want to think about the background and your subject matter and how all of that works together. So I really recommend checking out my Instagram, also checking out a number of other guinea pig and non-guinea pig photos and just look and see what people are doing to make the photos look really good. Start thinking like a photographer. So if we are thinking like a photographer, then what is another way to improve the quality of the pictures of our guinea pigs? And that is with the lighting. It's not just about your subject. If you don't have lighting, your piggies are in the dark. Now, I really love to shoot in natural light. What's natural light? Well, you know that big bright thing in the daytime that's going across the sky? Yes, the sun. The sun is going to give you really great light. Now, you don't necessarily have to have the bright sun right in their faces. In fact, today I was taking some pictures of Cupcake and it was in front of the window, but I drew the blinds a little bit and so the light was being filtered and I got these pictures right here. As you can see, not only did I have great lighting, but I was really conscious of what kind of background I was going to use. If you're a fleece collector, if you love fleece and you have lots of beautiful different types of fleece with cool patterns and stuff, then you have a lot of choices to choose from. And so I just put him in this really fancy rainbow tunnel and the pictures came out amazing. Here's a picture that was not as amazing, and this is an example of when you're not paying attention to a lot of these tips and techniques that I'm showing you, what's going to happen is you're going to have some really bad photos or just plain photos like everyone else. But when you follow these tips and these techniques, you're going to have photos that are better than everyone else. So back to lighting. Let's talk about lighting. The sun is a great source of light, and you can either have direct sun, which is going to give you shadows, and so you really want to be careful of that. Of course, you don't want the bright sun to be in your piggies' faces, especially if it's going to make them uncomfortable. And I don't know if you've ever had the experience, whenever I go home for Thanksgiving, my mom says, okay, come on everybody, let's gather around and we'll take a picture. And inevitably, she makes us stare into the sun while she is fiddling with the camera, and we are all trying to smile and we're blinded, and she's like, open your eyes, everyone's squinting. And so we're trying to keep our eyes open even though, you know, we just came outside in the middle of the day when it's really bright. Don't do that to your piggies. You want nice, comfortable light for them. So sometimes that means taking pictures at night with artificial light. So as you can see out the window, it's dark right now, but you see kind of what's happening is there's a little bit of a shine behind me on my hair. My hair's so shiny.
My hair is so shiny.
Anyways, a backlight is going to be a really great way to separate your subject from the background, your foreground subject from the background. So right, we're thinking about the subject and the planes, sort of. We've got something in the front and something in the back. And when you have a nice backlight, and this just happens to be, I have a fan with some lights up here, but I've noticed over the years that, you know, especially when my hair's slicked back, there's kind of like a sheen because, so especially if I move forward, you can see that there's a light behind me. And this just happens to be the lighting that I have, but I feel like it does the job. My information is the most important thing, but if you notice that if you look at some YouTubers have really high production value, and that means they've spent a lot of time on perfecting the background and their lighting, and the camera they use might be really expensive and really slick. So check that out. Look at other videos and see what people are doing. And one of the common things that you will see is what is called a 3-point light setup. You have a main light, you have a secondary light, and you have a backlight. Now you don't necessarily need to go crazy with a whole bunch of lights, and sometimes the natural light setup that you have is going to actually achieve that. In this room, I have a light right up here that's actually pointed away from me, and it's in my closet and it's bouncing back to give a decent amount of light, not too much, not too little. And of course, if you shoot with your phone, it's going to adjust those values and you're going to just pretty much usually get a pretty decent kind of result. So, but I do have a light behind me, and then there's light bouncing all over the room, so I get what I consider a pretty decent overall lighting effect. You'll notice if you start watching movies and thinking about light, or you start watching other people's videos and thinking about light, you might see a main source, a secondary light, and then a backlight. So for me, I like to have even lighting because it's about the information. It's not about how pretty I am.
How pretty I am.
But if you look at things that are more about storytelling, you will usually see a main light and then a fill light and then a backlight to kind of separate and make everything, to get a nice outline. But to sum up lighting, I would say basically be aware of your light source, look at the shadows, and just try to make sure that you have plenty of light on your subject and your background, and then sort of decide, do you want to have a bright subject with a dark background? Do you want to be able to see the background? There's so many ways that you can approach it, but being more conscious of the lighting is definitely going to give you better photos of your guinea pigs. So now let's talk about the fourth way to improve the pictures of your guinea pigs. And this one is kind of low-hanging fruit. I maybe should have started with it, but a clean lens is going to go a long way to giving you better pictures. You look at your pictures that you just took and you see all these spots on the lens. Oh, this picture would be so great, except the lens is dirty. Well, an easy thing to do, and I did this before I started this video, is I just wiped the lens of my camera with my shirt. It's pretty easy, but you'd be surprised. You smudge with your greasy fingers on the lens. If I do that, the lights that are just above my head, they start showing these little light rays kind of coming down. It's because the grease or whatever, the dirt in front of the lens is actually catching that light. This is not rocket science, but basically having a clean lens is going to go a long way to giving you really good pictures. Looking at a picture and saying, oh, what did I do? It would have been perfect, except the lens is dirty. Nothing more annoying and disappointing than that. So wipe your lens off. Enough said about that. Okay, what is the fifth way that you can improve the quality of your pictures? Now, it's all about capturing your guinea pig's personalities. And I find when I see a lot of people taking pictures, in general, they take this kind of, they pull out their camera and they take a picture, and it's usually a top-down sort of a picture of their piggies, and you sort of have, so if you look back at that picture that was not the good one, but the bad one that I'm saying of Cupcake, you'll see that it's kind of a top-down. I've got a number of these top-down pictures where it's just not that interesting. You can't really see their faces very well, and it's just boring. And it's kind of what a lot of people do, is they take a picture of their piggies and there's no personality. If you get your camera down lower to their level, you're going to be able to see their lips, their cute noses. Sometimes you can get both eyes, sometimes you get a side, 3/4, but getting that camera angled down and really trying to think about where you put your camera, and not just taking a picture when you're looking over the cage, but actually positioning it in a way that accentuates those features. And for me, it's usually getting low so you can see all those cute little piggy lips. That's what it's all about with the piggies, right? What do people call them? The donut lips? But that's what you want. And so you'll notice a lot of the pictures that I've taken here and a lot of pictures on my Instagram, I try to get that low angle to really capture their personality. If you take a picture of anyone, a person or an animal, it's all about face to face. It's all about seeing their face straight on. But piggies are so little, and usually we're lurking over them. And if you get down to their level, you're going to take good pictures. If you wanted to take a good picture of a kid, you wouldn't just point your camera down at the kid. You'd get down and you'd take a picture straight on, right? Same thing with the piggies. So that's that. beware of your angle and get down low and take a good angle. All right, now here is the 6th way to get better pictures of your guinea pigs. And that mostly applies when you're taking a picture with your phone. If you have a fancy camera, well, if you have an expensive fancy camera, then you probably know this, but cameras have different lenses, and these lenses have different focal lengths. Now, a fun thing to do might be to look on the internet about focal lengths and maybe portraits. I saw this one photo sequence of some guy, and it had the different focal lengths, and in one he had a really square face and he looked really super masculine and handsome, and then with another focal length he looked like really skinny and gaunt, and his nose looked huge, and he had this really weird shape to his head, and that has to do with your focal length, which happens to be the focal length that I'm using right now. But that's just because with this rear-facing camera, I cannot zoom in or out. But what I'm trying to tell you is when you're taking pictures and you're using your front-facing camera, zoom in ever so slightly. Or also, if you have a really nice, expensive, like a DSLR camera, zoom in just a little bit and you'll see what I mean. What will happen is the depth of field will start to separate. And what I mean by depth of field is something closer to you is in focus and the background is out of focus. Now go on the internet and look for artistic portraits or artistic photos. You will see a lot of depth of field, a separation between the foreground and the background. You will see really sharp focus and also blurry areas of the photo, and that lets you know that the person who took the picture is a good photographer. If you want to be a good photographer, and if you want to take really good pictures of your guinea pigs, or at least make them better than they were before, zoom that camera in just a little bit. Now with these digital cameras, if you zoom in too much, and right, so that's what you do, you kind of go like this, right, a little bit, or there's a little slider that starts out at 1 and then you slide it up, it says 1, 1.2, 1.5, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and it's zooming in. If you zoom in too far, you're just going to get all this digital noise. But if you zoom in just a little bit, you'll notice that whatever you focus on is sharp, and then the background's going to be a little bit blurry, and it's going to really increase the shape and the depth of your photos. So try that out as an experiment. Don't just shove your camera really close into your piggy's face. Actually pull that camera out a little bit and zoom in just a little bit, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, number 7. What's another way to get really good pictures of your piggies? And that actually is to shoot video. You can shoot really high quality, or at least HD video. And basically, what does that mean? It means that any weird little quirk of your piggies, anything that they do, you're going to capture it in a still frame that you can capture and export as a photo, right? Video is 29.97 frames per second, right? Or whatever frame rate you happen to have selected on your camera. But basically, every second, you've got all these frames, and if you're shooting in HD or high quality, you're going to get a bunch of really good pictures that you can use as a still. Now, most of my thumbnails for these videos actually are just that. I don't go in and take a picture. I really want my viewers to see a still frame of the video that they're going to see, but I want to make sure that it's a good quality picture. And of course, I shoot in HD. I don't shoot in any 4K super high resolution. HD is fine, and especially when you're on Instagram or something like that, just shooting in regular HD is going to be fine, plenty fine enough for you to capture a still of the video. So instead of waiting for that moment and pushing the button and hoping that you got it, if you're just starting out, just roll the camera and then watch that back, and you should be able to hit pause. And in most video software, just when you're playing back your video, there should be an option to capture a still frame from that, right? So do that, and all of the other skills and techniques that I've mentioned before still apply. just shoot video, you could zoom in a little bit, you have great lighting, you're feeding the treats so your piggies are all patient and everything, you got a really nice, clean, beautiful background, and everything's good, and just shoot some video, and you'll be surprised. One of those frames out of 30 frames per second is going to be really good. So that brings me to the 8th and final suggestion for how to take better pictures of your guinea pigs, and that is just take more pictures. Just like I said, if you shoot video, one of those frames has got to be good. If you're taking still photos or you're shooting video, just take more. This is digital, it doesn't cost anything, you don't have to go develop. Okay, so kids, there used to be this stuff called film, which was actually a plastic sheet of photo light sensitive material that was wound up on what was called a roll, and we used to put them in these boxes that were called cameras that were completely separate from our phones. Our phones are digital, as long as you got space on your phone, you can take as many pictures as you want. So whether it's shooting video and capturing one of those frames, or just shooting a whole bunch of pictures, or just letting it roll, take more videos, take more photos, and you'll have more choices. Look at a lot of photographers, especially back in the day, they would take hundreds of photos, and there would be one that would end up being on the cover of Rolling Stone. And you don't have to tell people, oh, it took me 1,000 photos to get this one. But real quick, let's just go through and we will look at all the photos that I took in some of these photo shoots, and you'll see they're not all good because guinea pigs move fast. So you're like, oh, this is a great picture, and time slows down and your fingers going slowly, and right at the last second they move, and you get a blurry picture. But the picture before, the picture after might be amazing. I hope that you learned something from this video, and one of these techniques might be something that you haven't considered before. And let me know in the comments if these are some techniques that you do all the time, or if one of these jumped out as something that you never thought about before. And look me up on Instagram. Put a comment, and if you put a comment, I'll click on your profile and I'll check out some of the pictures that you've been taking. So I hope this video helps improve the quality of the pictures that you'll be taking of your guinea pigs. So until next time, thanks for watching.